I went from actually passing products to people from the train station to actually building multi seven figure businesses, right? And currently we are on track to hit over seven figures this year with our brand new business, right? And the weirdest thing that I would say, like each business kind of taught me a new brand new idea thing, and I want to share more in terms of leverage and what it has taught me for each business, the entire mindset of going through in it. When I started my entrepreneurship journey, I was basically in school, right? I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was studying physiotherapy at that point of time, but essentially I was doing some stuff like some reselling stuff. So basically, I bought stuff from China. For Singaporeans, you might know the website called Taobao. So basically, I was reselling stuff from there and doing pre-orders on Carousel, which is like a third-party app. Which basically what we do here is put it onto Carousel, get people to buy, get people to pay me, and then I buy on Carousel, and I buy on Taobao, and I actually make the difference in between the stuff. Right. So essentially, this is the difference. So basically, we make like anywhere from $10 all the way to $30 every single time I made a sale. And at that point of time, I was actually very, very satisfied. I was a student. I had no money at that, virtually no money besides allowance, and I only had that stuff like to go for me. So I was making around $500 to $1,000 every single month. And it was great, right? At that point in time, I was a student. I was like 16 all the way to 18 years old. I had nothing, right? And $1,000, like I can buy literally anything that I wanted. I was literally every single time I was on the China website, I was buying my own shit as well. And life was good at that point in time, right? Really, really good. Life was simpler back then. But I came to a point whereby every time I had to, and this was like, I think like over 10 plus years ago, I had to go to the train station to pass people the goods. And people didn't like delivery. They think it was a scam. Yeah, I don't really had a correct business structure at that point of time. And I was sick and tired, right? I had to leave lessons and then part of schooling to actually pass people stuff in the MRT and stuff like that. And this was very, very annoying for me because I thought to myself at the point in time, like, can I just make my life easier? Can I sell something online without ever meeting them? And that led me down the road, right, to really figure out like my first foray into entrepreneurship, which is dropshipping, right? From that reselling stuff, earning 500 to 1K a month, I actually was introduced by a friend, or I even searched online. I can't remember at that point of time. I researched dropshipping, right? So the very first leverage I was going through was time, right? So basically, I was trading a lot of time for money, and the money at one point in time was like negligible, right? Super small. And I was sick and tired of it because I essentially didn't want to keep going to the train station to pass people goods. It felt like I was basically a courier. And I didn't like that, right? Even though I was making okay money at a point in time for my age, it just didn't sit right with me. I couldn't scale that because I didn't have that much time. I didn't have that much money in terms of capital to buy more goods as well. So I wanted something that was simpler. And it came across dropshipping that made me realize that I could essentially just learn the skill, which is running ads, and then trade that skill set and products and drop ship items from China, which is essentially what I'm doing, just that it doesn't have me sending people goods anymore. So I did that. I learned about it in my free time. I was spending all my time during lectures learning how to run ads, actually how to make my landing page better, how to actually write copy better. And I learned it from scratch. And that was my first foray into copywriting, digital marketing, internet business, and running ads and everything, right? So that made me so insane because why? I was actually learning about all these things, learning my skill set, and it made me think that, hey, I don't need to trade time for money ever again, right? So essentially, what I did was I learned about that. I go ran ads on that, and I got my first biggest winner, which is a product during Valentine's Day. I generated over $10,000, and another winner, which actually got onto like a new site. I don't know how it went, randomly run ads and got on a new site and generate another $20,000, $30,000, and it was insane to me. I didn't meet any of these people. I just ran an ad. I got so much reach, I got so much conversions, and that really opened up my mind, right? But then come another problem, right? I was selling things that I didn't have very good, like I didn't know what I was selling. I just basically selling rubbish, and I didn't really had like a good, I would say, passion for it. I didn't really understand what exactly I was doing. I still felt like very, very new in the business, and I didn't had any good feelings in terms of like just trying to find random products and then pushing it online to random strangers. It didn't really felt right with me. And what happened was that I sold my store. I managed to sell my store for a couple of grand, couple of $1,000s to like a fellow person, which funny story is I recently met at another event, e-commerce event, and he was telling me he was making seven figures, right? I didn't recognize him because it's been a while. And yeah, he's still in the game. He's still making a lot of money. But besides the point, right? So the second leverage I was thinking about is like I learned skills. I learned all these things, but like, how do I take it to the next level? How do I make my skill set even better, right? And which is actually removing myself, right? So I had so much trouble with ads, so much trouble with copywriting that I didn't really knew what to do. So I thought to myself at that point of time, and this was before I was graduating from physiotherapy university, is that I need a way that I can utilize other people's capital. And the main problem during dropshipping was that like I was using all my funds, right? All my funds to run ads, and it was on a debit card. This was very, very stressful, meaning I didn't realize how much money I have left. I'm a student, don't even have enough capital, and I was just putting money in, like in a sense, gambling it. I managed to get back my money and even more, but like I didn't know exactly what I was doing. Right, that's the first thing. I was just trial and error. Second thing is that like I wanted a way to actually have people pay me the money and have me use the capital to run ads for them and learn a skill, and also try out in the various industries to learn more in marketing in general. Right, I want the basics to be practiced, and that was led me to my next business, which is running an agency. So I ran two agencies. One was with a partner I met randomly in an event, and that didn't really work out, right? The guy didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know the business model. I know nothing. And the second business was with four other partners, including me. There's five partners. Now I'm gonna not go into detail about the partnership, but in general, I learned a lot in that 5 years in running the agency. We built the agency up to 7 figures. I hired over 10 people, and that made me realize, okay, I need people to actually scale this. I learned so much, right? I started from zero, not learning, not knowing any single thing. And what made me realize is that I need people, I need systems, I need and made me learn so much about copywriting, about running ads, about actually systems, about the conversion funnels in general, right? And I made so much money for my clients. Now, the other thing is still come back to leverage in time, right? So I made way more money than I ever did my first two businesses, and it's way more consistent, and I made a name for myself, and that's the most important thing. But now, in the problem that I had was I was spending so much time talking to clients. I didn't even have time to fulfill. I need my team to fulfill. Secondly, I watched my clients, my peers in the agency earn so much more money than I ever did. One problem is obviously the 5 partners. The other issue was I didn't understand how to leverage and what business model I should play. And what I mean by that is I have clients paying me from 30K all the way to 2K a month. So it doesn't matter at that point in time, but like I had profit share clients doing so well. I had like other clients, but my entire agencies were bloated. I had 5 other partners. I had to pay rental. I had to pay my team members, and everything was kind of insane. I had overseas clients in US and stuff like that. It's basically like all over the place, right? Besides learning about systems, organization, and everything, I was still also try and error a lot of things. But what I realized during that process is that my clients were making millions of dollars while I was helping them making that millions of dollars. And that made me think very, very deeply, right? Is that do I always want to be putting out other people's fire? And when I run an agency longer, I realized that I was getting deeper and deeper into other people's problems, but I wasn't getting paid well enough to solve all the problems, even though they're making millions. I was making like 1 to 10% max of the money they were making. And I thought to myself, why was this happening to me? It's like every time I run a bespoke, I want to help them, I want to solve their problems, but like I'm essentially getting the shorter end of the stick. Now, I'm not saying the agency model isn't great, but in Singapore, there's only a limited amount of clients I can sell to. Right? You must understand it. We are a small country. There's very little people I can sell to. And then at a higher range, there's only like 5 to 10 people that I can basically sell to, max make 100K a month. Right? And then I come with costs, come with all these kind of things. Now, and at the point in time, I realized what I wanted, right? I wanted something which is a better business model, which is leverage. And I realized some of my clients are in the coaching space, in the course space, in the consulting space, were doing way better than me. And the margins were way better. At agency margins were 30%. Their margins were 50 to 70%. And they had low churn, low problems. They don't have that many problems. And I've solved all their problems before. Just stroke of luck, I was able to actually leave the agency and become a CMO of one of the clients' company to work internally to really understand the business model even better. And then which actually I moved on to actually creating my own business with Melvin, my partner. And what I realized in that point of leverage is that business models are one of the key things, right? A lot of point of time, people actually start from a freelancer. They move to an agency. They move to selling offers and products on their own. And if you realize this business model, right, this is the leverage. And what do I mean by that is that you don't want to be the marginal in-between person because you'll be fighting fire on both sides. You'll be crushed from both sides. You want to be at the top or at the bottom selling like a factory, right? So now I'm at the top where I offer owner, where I hire freelancers, hire people to help me. I realize that this is much more better space because the margins that I earn are better. The control and power I have over my products, my services, who I sell to is way better because the fulfillment is much easier. Not saying like agency fulfillment is easy or hard, but like essentially this is the point, right? I don't need to hire so many people to fulfill. Systems are much easier to fulfill. And you find a better business model, you jump to that business model, you essentially make more money, right? And this is essentially my entire point for today. So this business model makes so much sense for me right now. And I'm happy to say that we actually hit like 100 grand last month, and we have more to come, right? More to come. And it's easier, way easier than I ever hit before. But I'm not saying that you should immediately start this thing, right? If you realize most gurus tell you to start maybe a coaching business immediately, I don't agree with that. I agree that you actually need to build your skill sets. You need to build your name. You need to build your brand. You need to build your experience. And you need to build all of this before you start coaching, consulting people. Because without experience, without skill sets, without, I would say, the gut feel in terms of like knowing what's right, what's wrong in the industry, in the market, and all the other variables, you basically are just shooting yourself in the foot if you sell a coaching program because you fulfill like shit. Right. And that's the essential point that I want to make. Right. I learned through this, like through over 10 years, trying multiple businesses, struggling through many of them, making a lot of money for my clients, and then looking at other people and my peers making so much more money and realizing that I'm in the wrong business. Right. It might not be wrong to you, but to me at that point of time, how I struggle, how much I work, how much money I take back, that is essentially the wrong business. And that's what I want to put across to most people, right? So this is leverage, right? So Naval Ravikant talk about leverage, and there are only 3 or 4 different types of leverage, right? So there's capital, which is money. And the more money you have, the easier it is. So I know China companies coming to Singapore, e-commerce companies, and destroying a singular product because they have so much more money, they have so much lesser unit product cost, right? Because they sell in China. Essentially, they have so much more products being created every day in China in the factory, so therefore their per unit cost is so low. So if you're going to fight them in the same space, in the same products, and with different price point, who's going to win, right? Essentially, they can spend more money than you. They have way more money. You essentially get destroyed by them. The second one is people, right? But people is very, very hard to control, right? Obviously, better talents you have, the more people, the more systems you have an easier life, you can scale business. But people problems come with emotional, you need to manage the people. More people means also more problems, right? So it's very, very hard to scale. Now, the other last two one is just content, right? So content is what me and Melvin advocate right now, because a piece of content like this can be consumed by 1,000, 100,000, a million over people across a span of time, and it still be online if this information is still valid. And if you watch this, you like to work with me, then basically you will buy something from me. And that's essentially why content is so powerful, right? It is you set up one time, it lasts forever, it gets distribution. Essentially, that's it. And last thing is code, right? Code is very much basically software and things that you sell once. You can basically you build once and you keep selling again, and that's essentially it. And the last one that I have, besides time or that kind of thing, right, based on the story, is the business model, right? Obviously, the business model matters a lot. Basically, if you're in a hard business model, it's very, very difficult to make it work. So F&B is like one of the hardest business model available in Singapore. Rentals killing you because you are at the mercy of a landlord. You have staff killing you because like the wages are getting higher. Nobody's want to work in F&B. You have the people complaining about prices being too high, even though rentals and stuff. You get what I mean, right? You crush on all angles. And it's a very good example of the business model, because some business model like software, like AI stuff right now, like even crypto exchange, brokers are making so much money compared to smaller ones. So look at the opportunity, and the money is available in the opportunity. Secondly, look at how you're going to fulfill and how much money in margins you can fulfill and how much effort you need to fulfill. And last but not least, how you're going to deliver to the client, right? If you deliver online, offline, whatever it may be, that actually determines a lot of your margin, your business model, how you fulfill as well, right? So that's all for today, and hope you guys enjoyed this video on leverage, my journey, what I thought about actually evolving from one business to another business, right? I'll see you in the next one.